All right. Good evening, everyone. It's 4, 5, 6 p.m., right in line with the flow of life. I wanted to get on here today because it's Wednesday and I don't have a video out this week. I don't know how many people follow my have at least one video up by Monday or Tuesday. So I've been working really hard on my Etsy shop, and I've kind of put all my energy into that shop. So that's what I've been doing lately, just doing posts and making t-shirts and all types of really fantastic time doing that. But I wanted to get on here today because I think there's something really important that a lot of people seem to not understand, or this holds people back. So, levels of consciousness and spiritual awakening is the topic of today's discussion. I'm going to try to keep this within 15 minutes. So, those of you that are tuned in now, thank you so much. And for those that see this live preview later, welcome. So, why is levels of consciousness so important in regards to spirituality and in our spiritual awakening paths? Number one is this whole idea of healing. It gives us hope for the future because a lot of us, once we awaken spiritually, we have a lot of healing work to do. I think that there's a misconception that once we awaken, everything is going to be great, or we're going to be in this flow state, all manifesting abundance and living this awesome life. That is the end goal, and that does, I think, a lot of people reach that place. But there's a lot of other people that are in the beginning of this, and they see a lot of people at the end of this long road, and they look at them and say, why am I not experiencing what they're experiencing? Why is my awakening filled with pain and a lot of drama and traumatic events, right? So this is also how people look at successful people in life as well. It's like you look at Bill Gates, you look at these successful people, and you say, why can't I be like them? But what you don't see is the years of sacrifice and all of these so-called dark years that these people went through, right? We only see relatively the positive sides of characters and people because people are more likely to share the positive stuff in their life, right? Not a lot of people too much talk about the darkness and the pain. But that is where levels of consciousness comes into this discussion, because once we heal all these things within us, our vibration raises. So once our vibration raises, that leads us to number 3, which is new levels of experience. This is what I always say to people when they ask me what spiritual awakening is. I tell them it's not a belief system, it is an experience. There's no belief, there's no religious dogma. It's an experience. It's a lived happening. So once we experience this new spirituality because of our awakenings, it allows us to heal. It allows us to raise our vibration through the purging of darkness and heavy, dense energies in our auric fields and deep within the cellular memory of our energetic bodies, our etheric bodies, and also our physical bodies. Leads me to number 4 is release and replace. So levels of consciousness, if you look at levels of consciousness being down here as a low level of consciousness and a high level of consciousness, this is where you have all the confusion in spirituality and the New Age movement and all of this stuff, is because there's a certain group of people that are up here, right, at the highest possible level, that are, close to living in 5D, that are manifesting at this super high level. They're the people that are saying, everything is love and light, because that's what they're experiencing. But there's a lot of people that are down here. You could say this is like where, mainstream society is in the matrix, chilling down here in the very denser levels of consciousness. And that's where we are. When we have a spiritual awakening, we pop out of that, but we're just a little bit over that lower level of consciousness, right? We're just on the cusp, and we keep getting pulled back down, re-experiencing patterns, behaviors, and traumas until we do enough work that we pop out of that lower level of matrix consciousness, right? So the struggle is right in between here, and that's what I talk about all the time, because that's where a lot of people are. That's where I am. That's where a lot of my friends are. They're not totally yet broken free totally from the lower level of consciousness. And we'll experience moments of 5D, we'll experience little glimpses and states of that, but it is the trauma that is held within our body that is pulling us back down into this lower level of consciousness, because we still have all these emotional strings that get pulled. This is where inner child work comes into play, trigger work, all this stuff. So levels of consciousness gives us hope, knowing that these levels of consciousness are here to be experienced, and it's like a ladder. So if we're here in the matrix level of consciousness, and we know that it is possible to reach higher levels of consciousness, it gives us hope for the future. It gives us hope for our awakening. It gives us hope and purpose that this is all for something, right? Because nobody just wants to keep purging all this darkness and just keep purging all this energy. We want to be heading to somewhere. We want to be looking to the future. We want to have vision. And this is a great way to remind yourself that your awakening is moving you through rapid acceleration in regards to healing, raising your vibration, new levels of spiritual experience. And as you release the old, it will be replaced with the new. So levels of consciousness is just the title of this video, and it's there to remind you that we're all in levels of consciousness. And you might also notice this when you get around family. You kind of fall into this level of how they perceive you to be, because that's how it's always been, right? You may have patterns with friends. When you get around them, next thing you know, it's just like, you kind of fall into playing this character, or you get around somebody that makes you a certain way. You start to act out in this otherwise brash type of way, because that's how they perceive you. So this happens all the time. So that's why it's super important to surround yourself with positive people. So I just wanted to get on here today and share that your spiritual awakening journey is, one of the greatest things that, you can try to accomplish, like in this lifetime. And as you inspire yourself to change, you also inspire others to change, even if you don't, outwardly inspire. Just you trying to transform your life in an inward level of an energetics. Inwardly, you are giving permission to the next person to overcome that struggle in their life, right? So, I've struggled with addiction and heroin addiction for a long time. And, me talking about it and being an example to someone else is giving them permission to kind of do the same. So, don't ever think that the awakening is a selfish path. You have to heal yourself first before you can heal others, right? All right, my friends, look out for another video coming up probably Friday. It will be an edited video, and it's going to be talking about routine and discipline. And I'm going to be talking about what my spiritual practice looks like and what my routine looks like. A lot of people were asking me about that. And so I'm going to make a video about how I kind of live my life. And I talked about this before in a flow state video. And I think a couple weeks ago, I linked a thing to that, but I'm going to make another video because it's a fascinating subject and it's something that keeps me balanced in my life. So look out for that video coming up here on Friday, and check out my Etsy shop. I've been making these beaded necklaces, and this has like a yin yang symbol on it. It's pretty cool. That's Auric Stimulator on. Check it out. I got a lot of new stuff coming up here this week as well. So guys, have a great night. Peace.